Welcome students. In today's lecture session, we are going to discuss the first part of LPG. So LPG stands for liberalization, privatization and globalization. So liberalization is the base or the foundation of LPG. So first the liberalization occurs, it leads to privatization, which further leads to globalization. So we will discuss liberalization, its objectives, then the areas in which liberalization occurred and the impact of liberalization on Indian economy. Liberalization, the relaxing of various laws and rules and regulations by government so that greater participation of private players is possible into the economy is known as the liberalization. ਸੋ ਇਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕੀ ਹੈ, ਜਿਹੜੀ ਪ੍ਰੈਜ਼ੈਂਟ ਗਵਰਨਮੈਂਟ ਹੈ ਉਹ ਆਪਣੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਰੂਲਸ ਐਂਡ ਰੈਗੂਲੇਸ਼ਨਸ ਹੈ, ਕੋਈ ਡਾਕੂਮੈਂਟੇਸ਼ਨ ਪ੍ਰੋਸੈਸ ਹੈ, ਉਹਨੂੰ ਰਿਲੈਕਸ ਕਰ ਦਿੰਦੀ ਹੈ ਸੋ ਦੈਟ ਦੀ ਪ੍ਰਾਈਵੇਟ ਕੰਪਨੀਜ਼ ਵੀ ਆਪਣੇ ਉਸ ਬਿਜ਼ਨਸ ਵਿੱਚ ਪਾਰਟੀਸਪੇਟ ਕਰ ਸਕਣ. We can say that liberalization is a precondition for the privatization and globalization. So it provides a greater autonomy to the business enterprise. ਸੋ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਕੋਈ ਵੀ ਪ੍ਰਾਈਵੇਟ ਐਂਟਰਪਰਾਈਜ਼ ਹੈ ਜਾਂ ਪ੍ਰਾਈਵੇਟ ਬਿਜ਼ਨਸ ਹੈ ਉਹ ਲਿਬਰਲਾਈਜੇਸ਼ਨ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਇੰਡੀਪੈਂਡੈਂਸੀ ਮਿਲ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਹੈ, ਉਹ ਆਪਣਾ ਲੈਵਲ 'ਤੇ ਕਿਸੇ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਦੇ ਡਿਸੀਜ਼ਨਸ ਉਹ ਲੈ ਸਕਦਾ ਅਤੇ ਗੌਰਮੈਂਟ ਦਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਇੰਟਰਫੇਰੈਂਸ ਹੈ ਉਹ ਰਿਮੂਵ ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਹੈ. ਸੋ ਇਟਸ ਵੈਰੀ ਇੰਪੋਰਟੈਂਟ ਫॉर the developing countries to be more liberal towards the private players. So it can open the economic borders, foreign investments आ सकती हैं, plus ਜਿਹੜੇ tax barriers है और legal issues है वो remove हो जाते हैं. So we can say that liberalization helps the government or the country to remove the obstacles ਕਾਹਦੇ ਕਰਕੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਰੁਕਾਵਟਾਂ ਹੈਗੀਆਂ ਫੋਰਨ ਇਨਵੈਸਟਮੈਂਟ ਦੀਆਂ ਉਹ ਰਿਮੂਵ ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦੀਆਂ. ਸੋ ਇਟ ਇਜ਼ ਦਾ ਬੇਸ ਫॉर ਦੀ privatization process. As we know that liberalization is important so that the privatization can occur, which will further lead to globalization. So here are some of the objectives of liberalization. So we can also say that these are the reasons why liberalization is important for the economic growth. The first one is it helps the country to achieve the economic growth. ਜਦੋਂ ਰੂਲਸ ਐਂਡ ਰੈਗੂਲੇਸ਼ਨਸ ਰਿਲੈਕਸ ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਆ, ਲਿਬਰਲ ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਆ, ਉਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਕੰਪਨੀਜ਼ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਇਕੋਨਮੀ ਵਿੱਚ ਇਨਵੈਸਟ ਕਰਦੀਆਂ, ਜਿਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਗੌਰਮੈਂਟ ਨੂੰ ਸੋਰਸ ਆਫ ਇਨਕਮ ਆਉਂਦਾ, ਪਲੱਸ ਦਿਸ ਲੀਡਸ ਟੂ ਇਕਨੋਮਿਕ ਗਰੋਥ ਐਂਡ ਐਕਸਪੈਂਸ਼ਨ. ਦੈਨ ਇਜ਼ ensure proper utilization of resources. So proper utilization of capital, raw material, man, machinery is possible if there are plenty of private players into the business. Then is it increase the competitiveness. So competitiveness ਜਦੋਂ increase ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਹੈ ਉਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ consumer ਨੂੰ ਇੱਕ better quality products at reasonable prices ਮਿਲ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਆ when there is a competition. It also helps in removing the monopoly. Then is development of backward areas. So with liberalization, more and more private players can set up their industries or factories into the areas or the regions which are still undeveloped. So ਉਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਕੀ ਹੋਏਗਾ, ਉੱਥੋਂ ਦੇ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਰੁਜ਼ਗਾਰ ਮਿਲੇਗਾ, they will get employment, plus it will also lead to the improvement of infrastructure facilities. ਇੰਫਰਾਸਟਰਕਚਰ ਵਿੱਚ ਕੀ ਆ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਹੈ, ਉੱਥੋਂ ਦੇ ਰੋਡਸ ਇੰਪਰੂਵ ਹੋਣਗੀਆਂ, ਟਰਾਂਸਪੋਰਟੇਸ਼ਨ ਲਿੰਕਸ, ਰੇਲਵੇ ਲਿੰਕਸ ਉਹ ਇੰਪਰੂਵ ਹੋਣਗੇ. Then is it helps in achievement of economies of scale. So with liberalization, more and more production is possible, so it will lead to the economies of scale. Then it helps in promotion of foreign trade. As with liberalization, we have already discussed that it will remove the tax barriers between the, or we can say it will remove the trade barriers between two or more countries. So automatically with the removal of trade barriers, the foreign trade will improve. So trade barrier ਕੀ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਆ, basically ਦੋ countries ਵਿੱਚ ਕਿਸੇ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਦੀ ਟ੍ਰੇਡ ਨੂੰ ਲੈ ਕੇ, ਵਪਾਰ ਨੂੰ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਕੋਈ ਵੀ ਓਬਸਟੈਕਲ ਜਾਂ ਚੈਲੰਜ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਜਾਂ ਰੁਕਾਵਟ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ। ਸੋ ਅਗਰ ਲਿਬਰਲਾਈਜੇਸ਼ਨ ਆਏਗੀ, ਉਹ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਕੋਈ ਓਬਸਟੈਕਲ ਹੈ ਜਾਂ ਰੁਕਾਵਟ ਹੈ ਉਹ ਰਿਮੂਵ ਹੋ ਜਾਏਗੀ, ਹੈਂਸ ਫੋਰਨ ਟ੍ਰੇਡ ਇੰਪਰੂਵ ਹੋਏਗੀ। Then improvement of technology occurs. So with the liberalization process, foreign companies will come to the still developing countries, and they will also bring with them the new and advanced technology. Then it attracts FDI. So FDI is foreign direct investment. ਇਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕੀ ਹੈ, ਜਦੋਂ ਰੂਲਸ ਆਪਣੇ ਲਿਬਰਲ ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਹੈ, ਪ੍ਰਾਈਵੇਟਾਈਜੇਸ਼ਨ ਨੂੰ ਗਵਰਨਮੈਂਟ ਆਪਣਾ privatization sorry with the liberalization of with the liberalization process privatization ਆਉਂਦੀ ਹੈ। ਉਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਕੀ ਹੁੰਦਾ, ਜਿਹੜੇ foreign players ਹੈ, foreign companies ਹੈ, they get attracted to that particular country, so they will invest in that nation, so it will bring foreign direct investment to the host country. Then it will ultimately lead to globalization. So ਜਦੋਂ liberalization ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਹੈ, it will give rise to privatization, and hence foreign companies or the companies will set up their business units across the international borders. So this will lead to globalization. Then this we have already discussed. It encourages the private sector participation, and last one is it reduces the role of government. So with the liberalization, ਜਦੋਂ documentation process decrease ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਹੈ, ਤੁਹਾਡੇ taxes ਜਾਂ ਘਟ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਹੈ, rules and regulations relax ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਹੈ, so the government ਦਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ interference ਹੈ ਉਹ ਘਟ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਹੈ. So these are the important objectives of liberalization. These are the basic areas of liberalization, or we can say these are the major components of the liberalization. In these 4 areas, the liberalization process was carried out. The first one is industrial liberalization. So the abolition of licensing, then removal of restrictions. Restrictions किस थे, trade ते restrictions है, ਜਿਹੜੇ trade barriers है वो remove ਕੀਤੇ ਗਏ, which resulted in foreign direct investment. So ਇਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਕੀ ਹੋਇਆ, ਜਿਹੜੀ ਆਪਣੀ international trade ਹੈ ਜਾਂ we can say foreign trade ਵਿੱਚ improvement ਹੋਈ. Then it also helps in reducing the reservation of public sector. Before liberalization, or before we can say 1991, ਜਦੋਂ ਇੰਡੀਆ ਵਿੱਚ reforms ਹੋਏ, or we can say when liberalization started, some of the areas of business areas or some of the sectors were only reserved for public sectors, कि कुछ areas ਵਿੱਚ privatization नहीं सी, so ਉਹ government ने reduce ਕੀਤੇ. For example, nowadays the government is planning to reduce the reservation in railways. So railways भी हौली हौली privatize हो रही है. Then is trade liberalization. So this helps in promotion of foreign trade, removing the trade barriers, and जो exchange rate की ਹੁੰਦਾ, like Indian currency is rupees, and for example the company from US will deal in dollars. So there is a disparity between the currencies, like 1 rupee is approximately equal to 77 or 75 rupees. ਸੋ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਐਕਸਚੇਂਜ ਰੇਟਸ ਹੈ ਉਹ ਫਲੈਕਸੀਬਲ ਕੀਤੇ ਗਏ ਤਾਂ ਕਿ ਟ੍ਰੇਡਿੰਗ ਇੰਪਰੂਵ ਹੋ ਸਕੇ. ਦੈਨ ਇਜ਼ ਫਾਈਨੈਂਸ਼ੀਅਲ ਲਿਬਰਲਾਈਜੇਸ਼ਨ. ਸੋ ਇਟ ਵਾਜ਼ ਡਨ ਬਾਈ ਦੀ ਬ੍ਰਿੰਗਿੰਗ ਆਫ ਰਿਫਾਰਮਸ ਇਨ ਬੈਂਕਿੰਗ ਐਂਡ ਇੰਸ਼ੋਰੈਂਸ ਸੈਕਟਰਸ ਐਂਡ ਕੈਪੀਟਲ ਮਾਰਕੀਟਸ. ਸੇਬੀ ਸੈਟਅਪ ਕੀਤਾ ਲਿਬਰਲਾਈਜੇਸ਼ਨ ਨੂੰ, ਇਹਨੂੰ ਇੰਪਰੂਵਮੈਂਟ ਕਰਨ ਵਾਸਤੇ. ਦੈਨ IRDA ਵਿਚ ਇਜ਼ ਅ ਇੰਸ਼ੋਰੈਂਸ ਰੈਗੂਲੇਟਰੀ ਬਾਡੀ, ਉਹ ਸੈਟਅਪ ਕੀਤੀ ਤਾਂ ਕਿ ਫਾਈਨੈਂਸ਼ੀਅਲ ਲਿਬਰਲਾਈਜੇਸ਼ਨ ਹੋ ਸਕੇ. Then is liberalization also was done in the fiscal sector by bringing the reforms. The main motive of reforms in fiscal sector was to improving the GDP, then raising of savings and investment, and the most important was improving the literacy. So with the improvement of literacy, people had become more aware regarding various savings and investment avenues. So ਇਹ ਏਰੀਆ ਸੀ, ਜਾਂ ਆਪਾਂ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਕਹਿ ਸਕਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਜਿੰਨਾ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਏਰੀਆ ਵਿੱਚ ਲਿਬਰਲਾਈਜੇਸ਼ਨ ਕੈਰੀ ਆਊਟ ਕੀਤੀ ਗਈ। Impact of liberalization. So as we have already discussed the objectives of liberalization, so the impact of liberalization will also cover mostly those aspects. The first one is exemption from licensing. So this we already know that with liberalization taxes ਘਟਾ ਦਿੱਤੇ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਹੈ, rules and regulations relax ਕੀਤੇ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਹੈ। ਸੋ ਜਿਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ more and more ਜਿਹੜੇ private players ਹੈ ਜਾਂ private business firms ਹੈ ਉਹ ਹਰ ਇੱਕ ਸੈਕਟਰ ਵਿੱਚ ਐਂਟਰ ਹੁੰਦੀਆਂ। ਦੈਨ ਇਜ਼ ਇਨਸੈਂਟਿਵ ਫॉर export. So some areas or some products were given more benefits in order to improve the export of those products. So ਇਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ foreign trade improve ਹੋਈ। Then is liberalization helped in bringing foreign direct investment into Indian economy. So with liberalization more and more foreign companies started investing in India, ਜਿਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ foreign exchange आई अपनी इंडियन इकॉनमी विच। दैन इज़ devaluation of currency. Devaluation of currency basically means कि ਆਪਾਂ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਆਪਣੀ ਕਰੰਸੀ ਦੀ external value ਹੈ ਉਹ ਆਪਾਂ ਘਟਾ ਦਿੰਦੇ ਹਾਂ while the internal value of domestic currency remains the constant. So first time the devaluation of rupee was done in 1966. Then again it was done after the 1991 economic reforms. So at that time the rupee was devalued by 18 to 19%. Then is privatization. So as we know that liberalization is a precondition for privatization. So with introduction of liberalization, exemption from licensing, more and more private players started entering all the sectors of the economy. Then more NRI related schemes were started so that the non-resident Indians are able to invest in Indian economy. Then liberalization also played a very important role in removing the trade barriers between different nations. So ਇਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ globalization ਆਈ, ਜਦੋਂ ਇੱਕ trade barriers remove ਹੋ ਗਏ ਤਾਂ more and more foreign companies started investing in India. So it led to the improvement of foreign trade or international trade. Then liberalization played a very important role in rise of information technology sector. So ਜਿੰਨੀਆਂ ਵੀ ਇੰਡੀਆ ਦੀ IT ਕੰਪਨੀਜ਼ ਸੀ ਜਿਵੇਂ TCS that is Tata Consultancy Services, Wipro, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ grow ਕੀਤਾ during after liberalization. Then is impact on service sector. So with liberalization, the service sector also gained momentum as compared to the goods sector. Or then liberalization also improved the competition into the small scale industry. So in order to compete with the private players or in order to compete in the international market, the small scale industry was also uplifted by the government. More and more benefits and compensations were given to the small scale industry. Then is liberalization also played a very important role in improving the agriculture sector. So with the liberalization and entry of private players and foreign companies, more advanced seeds, fertilizers, pesticides, machines and tools were introduced into the Indian agriculture sector, which benefited the farmers. So liberalization ਨਾਲ farmers ਨੂੰ, agriculturists ਨੂੰ ਇੱਕ ਨਵੀਂ tools and techniques ਮਿਲੇ, ਚੰਗੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਬੀਜ ਮਿਲੇ, fertilizers, insecticides, pesticides, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ quality ਵੀ improve ਹੋਈ. So these are the major impact of liberalization on Indian economy. So this is all into the first part of LPG, that is liberalization. In coming lectures we will discuss the privatization and globalization. Thank you.